people. This is gonna be a lot looser than the Chris one I did a couple months ago. Hey guys, just trying to figure out how to get a little button on here if I can. I might not be able to though. Is this it maybe? Well, we'll figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, I'll just tell you where to go for all the donating things and such. Hope everything's working out there. Can you all hear me? Tap, tap, tap. All right. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Morning from Australia. Hello. I think I know who that is. How's it going? And seeing as how it's a mere 2 p.m. here in Nashville, I'm still waking up, so I got my coffee here. All right. Well, we'll keep this a little bit looser than last time. I'm probably going to do about 5 songs or so and see what you guys are up to. Maybe we can do some questions and stuff like that. But as for right now, let's have some fun and play a little bit of music. So obviously, I'm sure a lot of you are here because of Queen and stuff. So I guess I'll go ahead and get that one out of the way for you. All right, this one's kind of a deep cut. So yeah, get used to that because that's part of the fun for these things for me is doing stuff that not everybody does. So don't think they ever played this live before. So this is an acoustic version of a song off of A Kind of Magic, written by John. It's a song by John. That was for you, Francois. All right. Just 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. One sentimental moment in your arms is like a shooting star right through my heart. It's always a rainy day without you. I'm a prisoner of love inside you. I'm falling apart all around you. Yeah. My heart cries out to your heart. No, but you can't save me. My hand reaches out for your hand. I'm cold, but you light the fire in me. My lips search for your lips. I'm hungry for your touch. There's so much left unspoken, and all I can do is surrender to the moment. Just surrender. So much, and pain is so close to pleasure, and all I can do is surrender to your love. Just surrender. Just 1 year of love It's always a rainy day without you. I'm a prisoner of love inside you. I'm falling apart all around you, and all I can do is surrender. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Thank you. Hey, Emma. Hope you're staying safe up there. All right. So the next one I'm going to do, especially because we were basically on the road whenever this happened, and I never really got a chance to do any kind of tribute to Neil whenever he passed. Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush. Obviously, anybody that knows me really well knows how much of an influence he had on my drumming and songwriting and things like that. So, and kind of a funny story. Right after he passed away is whenever we went out on tour in January. So I guess we went straight to Korea, did Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, all that. But you Queenies already knew that. And pretty much every single day after sound check in the band lounge, either me or me and Neil, Mr. Neil Fairclough, by the way, we would be watching or listening to Rush videos and albums and stuff backstage, and it got to a point where sometimes Brian would pop in, and he would almost start asking what we were listening to, and then he would say, I would ask what you're listening to, but I think I already know, and then he'd just walk away, because I think by the time the tour was over, everybody was very sick of Rush at that point, except for me and Neil, but, that's just the way it is. So, if Brian's out there, I'm sorry, but I got to do a Rush song. And this is it's kind of weird doing Rush songs acoustic because, they're very involved and stuff. But this one's a song from Hold Your Fire. Going to try to do a sort of an acoustic rendition of this called Time Stands Still. Turn my back to the wind to catch my breath before I start off again. Driven on without a moment to spend, to pass the evening with a drink and a friend. I let my skin get too thin. I'd like to pause no matter what I pretend. Like some pilgrim who loves to transcend, likes to live as if each step was the end. I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now. See more of the people and the places that surround me now. Time stands still. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. Experience slips away. Experience slips away. Time stands still. I turn my face to the sun. I close my eyes and let my defenses down. all these wounds that I can't get unwound. I let my past go too fast, no time to pause. If I could slow it all down, like some captain whose ship runs aground, I could wait until the tide comes around. I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now. See more of the people and the places that surround me now. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. Make each impression a little bit stronger. Freeze this motion a little bit longer. The innocence slips away. The innocence slips away. Time stands still. Looking back, but I want to look around me now. See more of the people and the places that surround me now. Time stands still. Summer's going fast, nights growing colder. Children growing up, old friends growing older. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. Experience slips away. Experience slips away. The innocence slips away. All right. Cool. Oh, you're too kind, Mary. All right, anybody, before we move on, any questions or comments or disses or anything anybody wants to know about? Yeah. Hey, you made it, BT. How many instruments do I play? Good or well, okay. So I played drums the longest. I think that's most people know that. I played drums since I was 3, and I started playing guitar probably about 10 years old or something like that. Didn't start singing really until, God, I eventually had to start singing in high school because it just worked out that way, and my band needed a singer at the time. But I really didn't start developing anything here, especially like high range or anything, well into college. I don't know, just kind of happened. But main instruments, drums, guitar, vocals, and every now and then I do piano if I need to. Whatever's needed. But yeah. How did you learn all the percussion parts for the Queen show? Well, I wouldn't say so much learning the parts for the Queen and Adam Lambert stuff as it is sort of figuring out what actually works in the show, because there's not always a lot of percussion stuff on some of those Queen songs, at least on the studio versions. And it just comes down to really figuring out what works and what doesn't. And for the harder rocking songs, I usually tend to stick to doing snare and hi-hat with Raj, just to give it a little more beef, I guess you could say. But it just, for everything else, it just comes down to taste and what works and what doesn't. And I'll try something, and if it seems to work, then I'll keep it. And if it doesn't, then I'll try something new. I can't say that I ever really do each show the same every time. The guts are always there for the songs, but little embellishments change here and there. And that's part of what keeps it interesting for me, really. And anyone that really pays attention knows that Queen was kind of always that way with their live shows. So I sort of try to keep that spirit in there too, so that it doesn't necessarily feel like every show is exactly the same. Especially for us, because we want to keep it interesting for us as well. And I think that's why set lists change so often too. And maybe not songs, just orders. You figure out what works and what doesn't. Love how you dance around while playing the drums. Oh, yeah, we don't have to talk about that. What gig did you love this year, 2019, 2020? Well, so far it's just been Japan and Korea and all those, and it's really hard to pick a favorite because, especially for me, that was my first time going to Korea and Japan. So it was everything I expected it to be. It was amazing. Every single show was great, and the Australian ones were memorable, to say the least. But they all went off. There were no major issues. As you all know, it rained like almost every single show on that tour, on that stadium tour. But I don't know, that's kind of what makes it memorable and fun, and the fact that everybody pulled it off, not just the band, but the crew as well, was just sort of made it that much better for me, and I'm sure everybody else too. I don't know that they want to necessarily do that again, but in hindsight, it was pretty rad that we could do that. All right, enough of me jabbering. Let's do some more music. This next one is pretty much a Chris Cornell song. It was done on Audioslave's first record, and I've always liked it. Never really played it before, except for one time, I think it was 2010. We were sort of putting together some new gear in the studio, and me and my buddy Gibby did a cover of this just to sort of get a lay of the land and figure out what works and what doesn't with the new board and everything. And that's what I like to do a lot. And whenever there's new gear in the floating around, I like to do covers, and not for anybody to hear, but just to test out new gear and make sure everything's working the way it should, and just for mixing practice too for me, really. But that was actually one of the first things we did right before we started writing music together, me and Gibby. So all right, this is off of the first Audioslave record. It's the second to last track. It's called Getaway Car. first time I saw you, you were chasing down a cyclone, all alone in the field. With rail yards and clovers, I kept rolling on. I never thought you'd wind up chasing me. Settle down, I won't hesitate to hit the highway before you lay me to waste. No, saddle up and I'll help you find something to drive before you drive me insane. Ooh. You're tired of walking and you loathe the ground. The sidewalk will barely touch your feet. Life moves too slowly to hold you down. With ring in hand, you take it out on me. Settle down, I won't hesitate to hit the highway before you lay me to waste. No, saddle up and I'll help you find something to drive before you drive me insane. So get yourself a car and drive it all alone. Ooh, get yourself a car, ride it on the wind, yeah. Get yourself a car and drive it all alone. Ooh, get yourself a car, ride it on the wind. Settle down, I won't hesitate to hit the highway before you lay me to waste. No, saddle up and I'll help you find something to drive before you drive me insane. So get yourself a car and drive it all alone. Ooh, get yourself a car, ride it on the wind. Get yourself a car and drive it all alone. Ooh, get yourself a car, ride it on the wind. All right. Whew. Nothing like singing on my pretty much morning time. Hey, there's Gibby. I was worried about that, but it's all right. Yeah, I'm a lefty, but it doesn't look like it on Instagram right now because I'm using the... I hope that that brought back some fond memories, Gibby. I think everything came back now. Looks like it went out for a second. All right. What am I drinking? Nothing fancy, just coffee. No vodka just yet. It's too early for that. Oh, can I adopt you? Well, I already have parents, so best Roger song to sing and play. In the Queen show, or for me personally? I didn't see who that was, so I'll just assume. I actually have a lot of fun playing. It's a kind of magic. We haven't done it in a while, unfortunately, so why don't you guys hound Roger about it so we can do it again. But that one's always, even though it's what it is, it's not I'm in love with my car or anything, but it's a great song. And when I've sung it, it's a tough sing, because anything Freddie sings is tough, but it's kind of show-offy, and it never really leaves that top register, but it's a good song, and it's great live. Everybody seems to love it whenever we've done it, either with Queen Extravaganza or with Queen and Adam Lambert. Of course, I like it with Queen and Adam Lambert because I get to play drums on that song, but that's neither here or there. Favorite joke played? Maybe we'll come to that later. Maybe after the next song, because I'll have to retune anyways. It's usually birthday stuff, really. And I wouldn't really call them pranks. I just think they're funny gifts. But anyways. Next song. There's probably a lot of you that haven't heard at least one or two of those three that I just did, but I have a feeling most people know the next song. Couldn't do one of these things without couldn't do one of these things without doing something some people know. So here's one for you. Oh, darling, please believe me, I'll never do you no harm. Believe me when I tell you, I'll never do you no harm. was wondering when my voice was going to crack. All right. So I hope everybody's staying safe out there. These are weird times that we live in. And I hope everybody really is distancing themselves from everybody and staying home, because it's one of the only ways that this is ever going to go away at the moment anyways. So don't take it lightly, people. And I know that I kind of mentioned it on some of the other posts and everything, but I didn't feel like really doing something like this without having a purpose or a point. And there's a lot of people still hurting in Nashville right now, because I don't know if it really got worldwide with the news, but there was a really bad tornado a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. And lots of people lost their homes, lost their possessions and everything, and just got displaced, period. And it couldn't have come at a worse time with all this virus stuff, because, you know, everything's kind of slowly but surely shutting down. And I'm really afraid a lot of those people are going to get left in the dust. And there are still charities out there that are helping. And one of those organizations is Hands on Nashville. And I tried to get a little button on here, but I guess I'm not savvy enough with Instagram to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is, after we're done here, I'm going to put up another story that has a link and everything that you can go to if you feel so inclined, because I know a lot of you don't live here, so you can't exactly volunteer, and I have a feeling that they might frown on that right now anyways. So the least that we can all do is maybe pitch in a little bit of money, because there are still people hurting. And Hands on Nashville has tons of documentation on their website to help with all that. If there's anything that you want to do, donate food to the food bank, donate money to the Middle Tennessee Relief Fund. I think that's what it's called. And I think that's where they'll send you to. But like I said, after we're done here, I'll post links and all that on my Instagram story, and we'll get it rolling. I hope happier days are on the way for all of us, actually, not just Nashville, because the world's kind of shut down at the moment, right? Hi, Erica from Japan. What's your most emotional event in Japan? I think just getting there, period, was emotional enough for me. Because like I said, I'd never been there before, and it's always one of those places I've always wanted to go, because you always hear stories, especially in the rock world, about how bands are just sort of, I don't want to use the word worshipped, but it's a whole different culture there for rock music. And I've always looked forward to that. Like, we all know the Queen lore. That was one of the first places they ever hit it just huge. The Real Me. How the hell do you know that song? First place they hit it huge. First place a lot of bands hit it huge, so it's got a history behind it. So I was very much looking forward to doing that. So pretty much every day we had there was incredible for me personally. What was I gonna? Somebody asked about a prank about Brian or Roger. I wouldn't necessarily call them pranks, but I thought they were funny at the time. So my very first tour with them was summer 2017. And some of you might know that summertime is both Brian and Roger's birthday. And it was Brian's birthday, And Adam had bought him, I think he bought those silver Gucci shoes, if I'm not mistaken. And I knew that was coming, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I can't buy Gucci shoes, so what else can I do? So I bought Brian. And I think that part of the humor in it for me is that, like, the gifts that I get for them are mega cheap. But who cares? Anyways, Adam got those Gucci shoes for Brian, and I got him that Groot shirt that you always see him wearing. But I know that's not like really a gag gift or anything because I knew he was going to like it. But anyways, like a year or two later, it was Roger's birthday, and I think Adam got him Gucci shoes then too, but I could be wrong. It was something Gucci. And I knew that was coming too, so I thought it would be funny to get a $1 pair of flip-flops from Walmart. And I don't think I did. I think I forgot because we were in Toronto or something like that. And backstage, for whatever reason, those last couple of shows, there were a lot of flies swarming around, like food and stuff, you know. And there were no fly swatters anywhere for some reason. So I thought it would be funny to, and I think that this was also the time when Roger started selling his clothing line, Tailored, that Serena had put together. So he had all those clothes that had his face on it, right? So I went to a store in Toronto and bought like a $2 fly swatter and some spray paint. And I spray painted everything, and then I painted on his face on the fly swatter. I thought it was hilarious, but, you know, I've kind of got an odd sense of humor. Yes, I'm the source of the Groot shirt. Hello, Neil. Is Neil there? I hope so. I wish he was. Sorry about all my jingling right now. I wish I'd have known that I would have had him tell one of his famous jokes while I was tuning my guitar. Yeah, define creative. Do I still get nervous when I get on the stage? No. People ask me that all the time, and I'm kind of an odd person in the sense that I don't really get nervous before a show, and at least in my touring years, I never really have. And the best way that I could really describe it is when you've done something for so long, like especially me, like playing drums and everything, you either know what you're doing or you don't. And I'm confident enough that I know what I'm doing when it comes to drumming and just performing and things like that. And I look forward to doing those shows more so than being nervous about it, because that's sort of my comfort zone is music. And getting to do that in front of people, it just feels like home to me in a way. And I never really have had a reason to get nervous about that. And I don't know, it's just me. Like, especially big shows. I don't know what it is. Like, once you're up there, you're just kind of doing your thing, and that's it, really. I get more nerve-wracked doing things like this than I do playing arena shows. But yeah, I mean, it's just a part of me, and it's just, and as long as I know that I'm in good shape and I'm gonna do fine playing, then it's never really a big deal, because I enjoy it so much that I can't wait to get up there. You know, it's the highlight of the day, so to speak. Do a jam session with Neil. I wish I knew how to do something like that on a live stream, but I can't imagine the latency would allow that. But what do I know? Maybe someday. Tell us about my band. Flarelight? Yeah. Really looking forward. I don't know what's going to happen with this April 18th show, but that's supposed to be our debut show in Nashville. We're still kind of playing it as it goes. If it happens, that's great. If not, then that's fine too. We can always reschedule. And there's a reason that I haven't done any Flarelight songs for this, because since we haven't done a show yet, I want to make sure that the first time those songs are played or heard, they're played and heard the right way with me and Rachel together. So I won't be doing any Flarelight stuff until then. Live anyways. I want it to be right. Play Don't Give Up by Your Parents. I thought about doing one of those songs. Maybe next time. So I'm going to wrap it up right now, I think, and give you guys one more song. I don't want you guys to get bored with me, because we're probably going to do this again in a couple days, I would say. So this next song I've never played before. It was the last song that I wrote or released as a solo artist. So this song was written, or this song came out on a retrospective sort of compilation album that I put out of all my solo work in 2016 called Bookend. And it's offline right now, but it's going to be back up in a few weeks in case you guys dig the song and want to check it out after this. I won't go into details about what it's about, because it's kind of personal, but the song is called February. And yeah. So here we go. Would you miss me if I died tomorrow? Would you cry a million tears? Or would you live your life without missing a beat, the way that you do? All that I could ever hope to do is find a road that leads me back to you. Would you love me if I said goodbye to everything that pulls me away? Or would you keep me locked inside your silence, the way that you do? All that I could ever hope to do is find a road that leads me back to you. I feel your love. I feel no love. Would you listen if I bled my heart out? Would you savor every word? Or would you leave me broken, drained, and empty, the way that you do? All that I could ever beg of you is tell me that you ever wanted to. I feel your love. I feel no love. You know that people say Would you kill me if I left tomorrow? Would you cry a million tears? Or are you waiting for this very moment, the way that you do? All that I could ever hope of you is that you ever really wanted to. I feel your love. I feel no love. I feel your love. I feel no love. All right. Cool. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Like I said, I'm going to post a link on my Instagram story about what you can do if you feel so inclined to donate however you can to Hands on Nashville. And there'll be a link that goes to their website. And if you want to donate money, they have another place that you can go to. And I do believe it's called the Middle Tennessee Relief Fund or something like that. But anyways, I'll post a link, and I'll also put it in my bio on my regular Instagram profile if you all feel so inclined. All right. Hey, Neil, there you are. I see you. Fist bump. Or actually, that, right? Little inside, all you guys. Awesome. Thank you all for sticking around. And if you guys want to do this again in a couple days, just let me know, and we'll keep it rolling. And we'll figure out another charity to donate to as well. I've got a few in mind. And yeah, thank you all so much for sticking around, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.